I'd like to welcome everyone from around the world to Steve Robb Reviews, and today I'm going to review the procedure that I go through when I'm actually considering using my torque wrench. So for a lot of people, you know, you've got like a torque wrench. I've got lots of torque wrenches and I don't rely on the torque wrench. I prove that the torque wrench is capable of obtaining the torque that I want. So how do you possibly do that? Well, you can go buy yourself a real expensive torque checker where you actually apply the torque. It'll give you a reading and you'll verify that you got the right torque. But that could be like $1,000, maybe $2,000. Or you can go get your torque wrenches recertified. How much is that going to cost you? Well, it's going to be more than your torque wrench is probably worth if you're using like inexpensive torque wrenches like I have. So how do you possibly do this? Well, I've been using a particular jig for years and years and years. I just made a new one and I gave my old one to a buddy of mine, and I'm going to show you what it's all about, and I'm going to explain to you the reason why I use this particular jig. It's like a bit of a hack. Everybody can do this. It's just using a little bit of logic, and let's get to it right now. But what I want to show you first is the torque wrenches and the reasoning behind using a particular jig like I use to verify it. Because you know what? All this does is go click, and whether you have a digital torque wrench, a click style torque wrench, you have one that's got a digital gauge on the front, or you got one that's just a beam style, or if you got like a, there's very different versions of torque wrenches. You can get a split beam. All the different calibrations are different, the torque ranges are different, but overall, when you're looking at a torque wrench, the bottom 20% of the maximum amount of torque that can be used for your torque wrench is suspect. It's not that it can't be, you know, a good torque, but it's suspect. So generally, if you've got like a maximum of 100 foot-pounds for your torque wrench, well, 20% is 20 pounds. So anything from 20 pounds under, well, they're saying you're not going to get a verified torque. Now, digital torque wrenches, I've seen them as good as 1%, some 2, 3, and 4. I've tested so many torque wrenches over the years. Some torque wrenches, man, they are so far out and the owner has no idea that they're applying the torque, and it's completely bogus. So let's take a look at some torque wrenches and then we'll get down to the testing. Okay, so let's just take a look at my torque wrenches. This one's not a torque wrench. We're going to be using that one. That's just a regular wrench. But we've got a 1/4 inch torque wrench, and that is from 20 to 200 inch-pounds. The next one up is from 5 to 80 foot-pounds. The next one up is 10 to 150 foot-pounds. And the last one, that one right there, is the 1/2 inch. And that is from 20 to 250 foot-pounds. So let's just take a look at the jig that I've made here and explain how this all works. So this is the jig here. And all I really have is just 2 washers. And I've got a fastener. Now I picked all stainless steel, but the threads go all the way, you know, like all the way to the top. So I got 2 washers and I've got 3 holes, and I just tapped them. This is just a 3/8 piece of steel, nothing fancy. And I'm going to show you how this works, because the whole idea of verifying your torque wrench, I've seen some people, you know, making videos where they're hanging weights off it and scales and, you know, using all kinds of fancy methods. The majority of people who own a torque wrench own more than one, because you can't actually do repairs or anything like that without having a variance of torque wrenches. You know, 1/4, 3/8, and then 2 1/2 inch. So I mean, yeah, you actually need all these torque wrenches, you know, for different torques, because not one torque wrench is good for everything. I'll tell you that right now. So let's start right here, and I'm going to use a perfect example of a video I just did a little while ago where I was installing some spark plugs in a Chevy Cruze, and I had mentioned that I was using the torque wrench to install the spark plugs. Well, I always use a torque wrench to install spark plugs, especially in aluminum heads, and the torque rating was 18 foot-pounds. So how do you know your torque wrench can do 18 foot-pounds? So this one here, well, this only goes up to 200 inch-pounds, which is 16.6 foot-pounds. Can't use this. This is no good. These two are the only two that qualify. One starts at 5 foot-pounds, the other one starts at 10. Now, this one here, will this actually work? Well, it starts at 20. So you're really not going to get 18 on that one, are you? So if you have two torque wrenches that can supply the torque needed, that's how this jig will verify whether your torque wrench is correct or not. So let's get to it. Okay, so here's this fastener is not tightened, this one's not tightened, neither is this one. All we're going to do is the center one we're going to tighten down to the target torque. So we just put it on here, and this one here is the 3/8. There it is clicking right there, and that is at 18 foot-pounds. Now we're going to go 3 pounds less for this one and 3 pounds more for that one. So I'll bring you back when they're done. So we're back, and the first torque wrench was a 3/8 torque wrench, and that had the capability of 5 to 80 foot-pounds. The next one is going to be the 1/2 inch torque wrench, and it's got a capability of 10 to 150 foot-pounds. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it on the center one, which is 18 foot-pounds, and see what happens. Okay, so did you hear that click? You know what that actually proves? Absolutely nothing. You don't know, that could be a 200-pound click on there. It could be an 80-pound torque. It could be anything, right? So that proves absolutely nothing, and that's why the other two are so important. So this one here is 18 foot-pounds, and it clicked out. This one here is 3 pounds higher at 21. So if this one started to move, I would then go to this one. But it didn't. It clicked out. So now we're going to go to this one, which is 3 pounds less at 15. This torque wrench, it better move. So let's see if it moves. You can see that moving now, and then it clicked out. So you know that that torque wrench is in between 15 and 18. So what's the odds of having two torque wrenches that are completely bogus? The first one, yes, it was 18. The second one, it clicked out on the 18 and moved on the 15 foot-pounds. So you know that it's in range. Now, could you just imagine yourself, you can actually verify this even better by tightening up your tolerances. And once you know you have a good solid torque, if you've got a torque wrench that's out of range, well, you can just recalibrate it yourself. Can you see how easy this little hack is? I mean, all you need is just some fasteners. Now, I use stainless steel hardware only because I had it, but this is just a 9/16, hex head on the front. It's a 3/8 diameter bolt, coarse thread, just a hunk of steel plate. I threw some paint on the front, and that's it. And you can see how easy it is that you can verify whether the torque wrench you have is actually, well, it's accurate enough. Because the tolerances on torque wrenches, yeah, they're all over the map on, generally, I'm saying the more money you spend on a torque wrench, the better odds are that you're going to get a better torque wrench. How many times have you spent more money on something and realized that it was garbage? More times than often, it's when you spent less on something that you find out it's garbage. Well, none of these torque wrenches are expensive, and they're all over 20 years old. And yeah, I've had to recalibrate them. I mean, this is so easy. It's a no-brainer. Anybody can do this. The only thing is, you have to have another torque wrench in your series to actually verify back and forth. It's not perfect, I'm not replacing, you know, all these fancy gears that people have, you know, with, you know, $2,000, you know, torque verifiers. I mean, this is for your do-it-yourselfer, quick and easy, and that's what I like, quick and easy. Thanks for joining me here today. If you haven't seen this channel before, you're welcome to subscribe and see some interesting stuff in the future, just like today. Cheers.